You are bold, you are fearless, you are radiant. It's time to unlock the diamond from within. BFF, we rise above, stronger together, we shine with love. Faith unshaken, hearts on fire, fearless souls, we're reaching high.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BFF Empowerment Podcast. I am your host, Blaque Diamond, and with me today on the Women on the Rise segment of the BFF Empowerment Podcast, I do have the pleasure of speaking with Miss Kirsten O'Connor. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to it.
You're so welcome. I hear an accent. So, where are you from?
A slight accent. I'm actually from New Zealand, so a wee way away from you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. And do you mind telling the listeners a little bit about you before we jump in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I come from New Zealand, where I've been working in over the last few years is in the grief space. Um, I lost my daughter, who was 24 years old, just under 2 years ago, and I've been working as an advocate in the grief space since then. I've written a book
Mhm.
and just working to help people through because it is such a difficult time that we don't necessarily talk about a lot. And obviously, death is something that happens in our world, and we're very quick to ask people to go back to normal and
Mhm.
to yeah, sort of not go deep enough what they're doing, and that can cause a lot of harm to individuals.
Definitely. I actually lost somebody close to me almost a year ago, actually. And
Mm,
that was my first time experiencing the grief of actually
yeah.
losing a loved one or a person that I cared about.
Mm,
But during that process, I actually learned a lot about myself and how I actually had experienced grief before, but not due
mm.
to loss of someone, but it was loss of
Yes,
something. And
yes.
that was my eyesight because I lost my sight when I was 15 due to child abuse. And I think I
Oh
just
God.
kind of put it to the back of my mind and focused on, trying to be independent and learning everything I needed to do to be able to take
Mm,
care of myself and never actually fully had the opportunity to evaluate and just sit back with what my new reality was. I just kind of pushed it to the back of my mind. And then there would be times where it would resurface and I would get depressed and I would just think about my life and how, I felt like I wasn't as successful as I thought I should be because of the fact that, I no longer could see. And so that would
mm,
just bring it up. Or if I was in a situation where, someone was talking about, something or talking about an experience, and I'm like, yeah, I probably would have been, there or enjoyed that, if this
yeah.
hadn't happened to me. And so that's when I learned, like, wow, you never actually dealt with that loss.
Mm. And I think you're incredibly right. I saw a saying which I really liked the other day, and it was something about we may be in a different boat, but we're all in the same ocean.
Hmm.
And grief is absolutely more than simply death. It's absolute change in our lives, and we do grieve all the time, relationships, things that, I
Hmm.
mean, that happen in our lives as well as death, and we're not good at doing it because a lot of it takes you to sit down and to really analyze and to take time. And we're not very good at that in this world, I don't think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're so busy, doing everything, you
Mm,
kind of just bury it and just move on.
yes.
And then
Yeah.
something happens to trigger, and then that's when you realize, like, oh, I've actually never dealt with that.
Mm. And my daughter and I were extremely close, and like you, it was my first real experience with the death of a close one. So it was a biggie. and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to. I wanted to honor her and really concentrate on the process, and that's when I discovered how hard it is. You have to return to work, and your whole brain has changed. It's not just an
Mm-hmm.
emotion, grief. Grief is actually your whole brain rewiring itself. Your,
Mm-hmm.
hormones and things like that are all refiring. Parts of your brain are shutting down to help protect you. So it's not simply an emotion that you're working through, it's full body change.
Yeah.
And another part of grief, which was really, really interesting to me, was when Kalia, my daughter, died. I had a feeling at one stage, and I thought, oh, this is interesting. The worst thing has happened to me that I could imagine happening, and I'm still okay. I'm going to go through the world with great confidence, and nothing can touch me anymore. That lasted for about a day. And then the complete identity collapse happened. I had no confidence. I didn't know who I was anymore. And it was
Mm-hmm.
actually took me a long time to rebuild myself because a part of me did die with Kalia, and I was just so irrevocably changed that I needed to honor that and go through the change. And I feel very privileged that I was able to do that and had the support around me to do it. But it's really very, very difficult. And I think if you've got pressures of work and people, like you said, expect you to move on
Mm-hmm.
and quickly, then it's a really hard thing to do. And I worry that people who move forward, what does happen 10 years down the road or 15 years, 20 years down the road if you aren't able to grieve properly at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning?
Definitely. And do you mind sharing what happened to your daughter, or you don't have
Yeah.
to if you don't want to?
No, no, I love talking about Kalia. That's that's a wonderful thing. And actually something about grieving that I'm a big advocate for is absolutely talking about the person who died. We love it
Mm-hmm.
because people go very silent, especially around children loss. They think that if you talk about your child, that it will make you upset. I mean, one, I'm already upset. No one's going to make me more upset. I miss my
Mm-hmm.
daughter every day. But two, it's so lovely to talk about her, even her death, because Kalia suffered a lot with mental health issues. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and she actually died by suicide at
Okay.
24. So I do talk about I had mental health and suicide loss as well. Unfortunately, we have an awful statistic. I hate statistics, and I don't like that my daughter is one of them. But it is
Mm-hmm.
important to say that one of the top killers of our young people is suicide. And that I just think that that's an awful, awful statistic, and we need to be doing something about it.
Definitely. I can also, speak on that because I am actually a two-time suicide attempt. I tried it twice.
Yes.
And
Uh,
thankfully, I was not successful.
yes.
But I was just so down and just I did not want to be here anymore. And it was not
Yes.
just, dealing with the whole blindness and loss of sight, but it was just like the
Mm,
trauma that came with all the things that I had experienced in my life up to that point. And the people that were
mm,
supposed to love me the most were the ones that actually hurt me and
oh,
put me in
yes.
that predicament to not want to be here anymore.
Yes, yes. And I think that, and I'm so sorry to hear that it's such an awful place to be, but it is a very real place to be. And through working through this work, I have understood, and I've also been in that place, especially after Kalia died. I did have suicidal thoughts. And through talking with people, it is not that uncommon. But the problem is that we don't talk about it. So people think that there is something wrong with them or they're feeling wrong. The world is a really tough place, and
Hmm.
people don't sometimes just need someone to sit with them. And as you said, the people around you that were supposed to be helping you weren't there. So who was there with you sitting in that darkness and saying that it's okay? And it's okay to feel things and it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to have those thoughts. But often we shut people down when they are having those thoughts and we don't open up a conversation. We say things like, but the world is a great place, tomorrow's a new day, all those things, which are absolutely true. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just need someone to listen and to validate how you're feeling. And that can be the strongest thing that we do is to sit with someone and to
Mm-hmm.
be in their company because that being with someone and sense of community is so important. Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah,
yeah.
when I had my last bout, I actually didn't like attempt the last time, but I did have
Mm,
those thoughts
yes.
because of dealing with the leaving of a domestic violence relationship and just being
Mm,
tired of going through, just so much trauma in my life where yeah, I
mm,
literally sat in a bathroom and cried because I felt
yeah.
like my life was just over. And at that time, my son, who's now 7, he was 3.
Mm,
And he was basically the only reason why I did not.
yes.
Because I felt
Yes.
like me being a single mom, he didn't have a father. So
Mm,
I was all that he had. And so I felt
mm,
like it would be selfish of me to leave him in this world by himself. And
yeah.
so that thought alone and, knowing that my son is autistic, so I don't
Mm,
trust anybody with him.
no.
Um, and I just like nobody will protect him like I will. And I'm like, I can't
Mm,
do this to him. I can't leave him out here to fend for himself.
yes. Yes. Yeah. Incredible. And it's that holding on to something. I think that one of the hardest things with suicide and something that really does affect people is if you lose hope and you found hope in your son. And isn't that incredible? Yeah,
Our bond is
it's
just
really lovely.
undeniable.
Yeah, it's so lovely to hear.
Yeah, so I was like, you know what? I can't do this to him. Like he needs
Mm,
me. Like there's nobody here. If I'm gone, like he will be
mm,
thrown to the wolves and I can't do that to
mm,
him. So I was like, I
mm.
have to stay here for him. I have to climb up out of this dark hole that I am in
Yes.
and get it together.
Yes, and
And
it
I
is
did.
hard. Yeah, and it is hard that climbing up from the hole. It is certainly well worth it if you can do it and make it, but it is difficult, and there's some resilience and grit that you've got to find in yourself to be able to do that, because sometimes just getting help can be very difficult.
Hmm.
Kalia had attempted a number of times and she asked for help and she just found it really hard. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then she would go down in the hole again. And I always talk about Kalia was extremely resilient and wonderful and beautiful and very intelligent. And she tried. And I remember at her funeral, I said, and it was really important for me to say that she tried and tried again. I just think she got to the end of that ability to try for her. And that's the hard thing. So it is about
Hmm.
community and having real conversations, and because people can feel so isolated, and as you get more isolated, the harder it is. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, because
as
I
we
actually
know,
had a cousin. Well, he was like my second cousin. I think about either a year and a half ago, I found out that he actually committed suicide and he was like
mm,
maybe 17, 18. And I would just sit in there and wonder, I'm like, what could he have been going through that just made him think that he couldn't,
yeah.
he couldn't be here anymore? Because I'm not really close, with his family. So I don't know the ins and outs of what was going on in their, household and
Mm,
things like that. But it was just like it just came as such a surprise that someone so young could,
yeah.
yeah, feel like that's their only way out. I'm like, what was he going through? Like
Yeah,
just
and I think that, and that's a really important question, because I think we think that people who have either tried or have died by suicide that they're thinking logically, and they're not. Their brain is really under extreme stress. So
Mm-hmm.
none of us really want to die. The fact is that when suicide becomes an option, it's wanting to end the pain, and
Mm-hmm.
your brain sort of rewires itself and reconnects and tells you lies basically that the world would be better off without you and all these things. So it's actually, as time goes on, it is a neurological problem, and it is a
Mm-hmm.
mental health problem. And I think that there's a stigma or a story still out there that says that, suicide is a choice and that they're selfish and all kinds of things. And I think that that's a very hard thing. It's a hard thing to explain because obviously they
Mm-hmm.
did choose to die by suicide. The reason I say it's not a choice is because it's a brain that's really unwell, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
brain that's really struggling and not thinking logically. The When people often try suicide, they go into a tunnel thinking, and their front
Yes.
part of their brain actually cuts off. So they don't think about yesterday or the future and all those sorts of things. They're really stuck in a place. And that's the awful thing about it, is that
Mm-hmm.
it's a choice made from a brain that isn't functioning properly. So that's why I say it's not a choice. Because
Yes.
I know Kalia and I were extremely close, and she loved me a lot. And she used to call me her soulmate, which was really cute. And I know that she would never have wanted to cause me hurt or harm.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know that if she had been in her right mind, she would have thought of me and not done
Mm-hmm.
that. But she was just so unwell.
Yes.
Yeah, at that time. And yeah, and so it is hard. And I think that with suicide, because it is a hard topic, maybe we try and oversimplify it. It's almost like we try and blame the person that died. And
Mm-hmm.
we don't blame someone that's died by cancer. So it is hard. It's hard for people to talk about. It's a touchy subject. And it's hard for people who are going through it. Then because
Mm-hmm.
it's such a touchy subject, they feel isolated. And yeah, we just need to really talk about it more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mental health definitely needs to be a more prominent subject. Like, I
Oh,
do notice
yes.
is like even when I was looking and researching, and I have pretty good insurance, but
Mm,
when I was looking for like psychiatrists and psychologists and all of this for my son, it was like it was very few options. And I'm just like,
yes. Yeah.
huh? Like, I
When
mean, where are the child psychologists or the
yes.
people that work with children or young
Yes.
people with mental health conditions? Like, the options were so limited.
And even if you find someone, it may not be a match, and yet that
Mm-hmm.
child stays with that person because that's the only one they can get, and that can be as harmful at
Mm-hmm.
times if someone's invalidating them or not understanding their situation. Um, a few years before Kalia died, she was unfortunately sexually assaulted, and she went tried to find counselling. It took a year for her to
Mm-hmm.
find counselling, and by that time, her mental health had deteriorated so much, and that is when her suicidal ideation really took hold.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a cruel system in a way, and that's why I say it's so hard to ask for help, and it takes some kind of resilience to sit there and
Yes.
either have people backing you or you're doing it yourself to try and try again and to email and to phone people and to go on to waiting lists and all those things when you're already not in a great place. So
Mm-hmm.
it is a really difficult system to navigate.
Definitely. Yeah, like I even because I'm a part of a autism parenting group,
Mm,
and so because I wanted to find somebody that would understand what my son is going through, because even though he's 7, he has exhibited signs of suicidal and just
mm,
depression and things like
mm.
that because of his condition.
Yes.
Like he hates, his brain, or he basically devalues himself a lot and
Mm,
talks badly, and I have to, keep directing him, redirecting him, and, telling him
Mm,
that thing. So I wanted to find him a therapist that basically would be on his same level and understand it. So someone had posted a link in the group that was a directory
mm,
of neurodivergent therapists that were either they identified as being neurodivergent or they specialized in working with children and adults who were
that's
neurodivergent.
wonderful.
And so that's what I'm looking into, getting him someone who can relate and can
Mm,
talk to him, about how he's feeling and what's going on with his brain. And I mean, because at the end of the day, I can explain it, but I'm not, neurodivergent. So I only can
no.
do so much as far as telling him and teaching him what's going on with him and why he feels the way that he does.
Yeah. Isn't it so sad that our young people, and seven is so young, and our really young people are really struggling with how their brains work and this sense of normal. Well, there is no normal. We're all on a
Hmm.
spectrum of some form or another as
Hmm.
well. But we do live in this world that we're all trying to be something that doesn't exist. It's just
Hmm.
crazy. It really is crazy. It really astounds me. And I'm so sorry that you're going through that. That's a really difficult thing to walk through, but you're
Yeah,
doing
because I've
amazing,
definitely been doing a
amazing
lot
job.
of research, and I just see
Yeah.
that, yeah, a lot of times, because he's considered high functioning,
Mm,
so level one, he can communicate, he can do all, comes off as normal, I guess you would say,
yes.
neurotypical,
Yeah.
but he struggles, in other areas. And I just, just doing my research and trying to find what I can do as his mom to help and nurture him. Like, and the one thing that I have seen a lot of is that children who are high functioning as he is do commit or attempt suicide a lot,
Yes. Yeah.
or they turn to substance abuse, drugs,
Yes.
alcohol, and I'm
Yes.
like, I don't want that for him.
And I know with Kalia, she was high functioning and suffered from anxiety and depression at quite a high level, but high functioning. And that was something that she struggled with as well because she presented so well. Like she could talk, she smiled, she was, had a good job, she was working in HR, she has a psychology degree, and she was just a high functioning mental health, but she functioned in society. Sorry, trying to get that
Mm-hmm.
out there. And that was something that actually worked against her because
Mm-hmm.
she would say, "I'm struggling, I need help," but she presented so well that people didn't believe her.
Mm-hmm.
Or they
Exactly.
negated it, or they, just sort of said, "Oh, you're okay."
You're like, yeah, you're doing good. Like,
Yes,
it don't
yeah,
seem like that it's that bad. You got this. And I'm like, ugh. And for
yes,
him to be 7 and all, he just turned
mm,
7 to already be feeling this way.
yes,
Like, I'm really, really, I'm like, I have to get him. Because, yeah, he does ABA therapy, but he needs separate therapy from ABA
mm,
therapy. Like, he needs
yes.
someone he can talk to about how he's feeling.
Yes.
And because, yeah, he does a lot of negative self-talk because he
Mm,
doesn't understand why he does things, and he feels like he's always in trouble, and
mm,
it's,
mm,
yeah, it's tearing him apart. And he has separation anxiety disorder as well. So
mm.
I am his be all end all.
Yeah, but isn't that it's amazing, and that's where you're doing such an amazing job, is that he's able to express this with you. A lot of children don't feel that they can talk to their family about these sorts of things. So it is
Hmm.
incredible that he has talked to you about it and at a young age, which is, really the best thing that you can do individually, which is amazing.
Yes. So, yeah, we definitely have, like, we both, I mean, I've always called him, like, my partner in crime, my best friend. He's
Oh,
my
love
twin because
that.
he looks just
Yeah.
like me and everything. Like, so I'm like, you're my twin. We're not going nowhere. We got each other. Like, we will get through all that we have to get through together.
Oh, I love that so much. And it reminds with Kalia and I, people, I talk about her mental health, but it's really important for me to talk about also how wonderful she was being around. I wouldn't change a thing. I loved being around her. She was incredibly fun, and we had great times right until her death. So it's never a
Mm-hmm.
burden, it's never anything. It's difficult and it's hard, but it's
Mm-hmm.
also, I think, a privilege to be able to walk with someone in a really authentic, honest relationship. And I used to say, yeah, Kalia and I were partners in crime too. So I think that's really lovely.
Yeah, it's
And
like
we,
because a lot of times what I stress a lot, of course, because of everything my
mm,
son is going through. But and it's like at the same time, he's my peace. When I'm
yes,
feeling some type
yes,
of way, when I'm,
yes,
just he's who I go to. I just need a hug. I just need
mm,
to feel better, like about
yes,
whatever it is, even if it's related to him.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
I
like,
agree.
yeah.
I agree. I agree. Yeah. And that's when Kalia died, we used to talk on the phone. She lived with me when she died. She had moved out, but she moved back in a
Hmm.
few months before she died. And we lived together. We still spoke on the phone 2 or 3 times a day, sometimes more. We used to meet for lunch because we worked quite closely to each other. And one of the biggest things that I missed was those conversations when she died. So that's when I started really journaling and writing and
Hmm.
understanding how writing things down can really help you. And it was my way of
Yes.
still communicating with her so that I talk to her about my day, or I talk to her about that I'm just unhappy that she's not here. And I talk about my real feelings with her as I would have done because we
Hmm.
had that relationship, and I never want that relationship to end. So, um, and then I discovered that writing actually has a healing quality to it because it
Yes.
really calms down emotions, and it just the physical writing does something to our brain and actually changes the wiring of our brain and calms us. So,
Hmm.
yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, but that help. But also, I think that really appreciating that person, even though
Hmm.
it can feel hard, is so important as well. Like you said,
Yes.
here's your piece. I love that so much, and it is so important. And I think that sometimes people that are going through issues, they can really feel that the world, that they're hard and everything is hard around them. And it's so important for them to know that they are your peace, or that you are so lucky, you feel so lucky that they're there. And I
Hmm.
always felt that way with Kalia, and she knew it. Um,
Yes.
you know,
I
and it,
definitely agree that writing is therapeutic. Like I've been writing since I was, what, 11, 10.
mm,
Because yeah, I went through a very, very traumatic, severely, just abusive childhood. So that
mm,
was my outlet. And that was, basically what led up to me becoming blind was due to the child abuse. But even
yes,
after that, after becoming blind, and I thought that my ability to write was like over and I wouldn't have a way to express myself. But then I learned, Braille, and I learned how to use a computer with the JAWS, with the
yes,
screen reader. And I'm like, okay, so I still can write. Like this is
wow.
still my mode of expressing, what I'm going through, how I'm feeling. And so yeah, I'm also an author. So I actually
Oh,
just published book number 15 last year.
oh, wow, that's amazing.
And I've
Well done.
self-published all of my
Yeah,
books.
good
But
on
they
you.
they range in different, genres, children's literature, poetry. Poetry was actually
Mm,
my go-to. That was my, my first love is yeah, I
yeah.
wrote things through poetry and lyrics and music and things like that.
Mm. And yeah, it is so powerful. And I think that writing, like what I found with writing was that it became a witness. I could say exactly what I thought without hurting anyone else or without anyone
Hmm.
panicking around me. When you're going through extreme hurt, you do have strange feelings, and you can say horrible things to the page, and that is okay. And you need to get them out there. Sometimes things aren't the
Hmm.
best to say to people, and sometimes I'd be writing the same word over and over and over.
Hmm.
So But it is really important. Well, it was really important for me to get that out. And also, sometimes I would have things going round and round and round in my head, and I would write them down, and I would think it was almost like I could um, really look at what I was thinking and think, what are you going on about, Kirsten? Like, this is not right. Like, it is obvious that you're going down a rabbit hole and it's not true. But when it's
Hmm.
in your head, you can just get stuck with those thoughts and ruminate and pick them apart, and they're not right. So I
Hmm.
found that, by writing things down, things became clear to me, and I could use a logical brain over the top of it by actually reading it. And that too was really powerful.
Exactly. Wow.
Yeah.
So you did mention that you've written a book. What's the
Yeah.
title of the book, and is it related to the loss of your daughter?
It is. I've actually written a few books like yourself. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it becomes a quiet obsession, but I have
Yes.
a I have my first book coming out. It's coming out this month, and it's called The Year After Kalia, and it's surviving, loving, and writing my way through loss. So it's part memoir because I'm very honest, and Kalia was very honest, and we had a very honest relationship. And when
Hmm.
I was certainly the first few months after Kalia's death, like you, I research and I read a lot. I wanted to find anything I could that would actually just help me feel a little less crazy because I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't make sense of the world. I felt really alone and isolated, even though I had people around me. But I think it
Hmm.
was just I didn't have anyone who had been through something similar. Um, so I decided to write it. So the first part is memoir, and it's actually a lot of it's from my journals at the time, and it's
Hmm.
sitting within the loss because I want people to feel recognized and held. And so it is quite raw and very real time.
Hmm.
But then the set it is in three parts really. Each chapter is in three parts. So it's that memoir style, what I was going through. But then I flick it round and I actually talk about what's happening in the body, why we're feeling this way, why this happens, because it's not simply emotional. There's actually things happening within the body that are there to protect you and to help you, but doesn't feel like it at the time. So I was
Hmm.
really curious as to what was happening in my body and in me. And that gave me a level of freedom. It took away the self-punishment and the just feeling that like I was doing it all wrong. Like I thought, this is not how other people act. Like, what is wrong with me? And then I found out that everyone feels that way. So, or not
Hmm.
everyone, but you know what I mean? A big proportion feels that way. And then the third part is small rituals that people can do and small writing activities and journal activities. And the reason I added rituals in there, it's a funny word because I'd never really thought of it as rituals, but it can be just sitting there and actually realizing that you're here on this day.
Hmm.
Because when you're going through grieving, often time just feels so fluid. So it's actually just putting your feet down on the floor and thinking about what day it is and being present. So it's very small micro tasks, I call them, just to
Hmm.
help people who are in that space. So um, yeah, I thought I'd call it a love letter through the wreckage, is basically how I sum it up. But it is to help people. I also have a site called thisisgrief.nz, and that's an interactive site that has a lot of resources to help people who are grieving or to help the supporters to help those who are grieving, to
Hmm.
understand what people are going through, what they can say, and an interactive place where people can email in, have conversations, and hopefully have a support in an online way.
Hmm. Oh,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. So basically a community where people could come and
Yes. Yeah.
share and,
Yeah.
express themselves. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, 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 and
Mm.
help. And if, and there is, I always email people back and I really love interacting with people and nothing shocks me. So it's people can be honest, and I am 100% fine with it. That's what I advocate for. So
Mm,
it is a bit of fun, but my other writing projects are on there. Not that they're published at the moment, but I
mm-hmm,
let my the people in my community know what I'm up to, and then they can
mm-hmm.
give me ideas about what they want to hear too. So yeah,
I
it's
like
great.
that. Yes. So are you actually like a grief coach, or do you do like workshops or anything?
So I'm aiming for this year to start writing workshops because writing really helped me so much in the space. So not I do have a psychology degree, but I'm not a counselor or a grief coach. But I do like to help people with writing and just to help them understand what's going on in their brain and in the world around them. And you don't need to be a writer to write. Writing can be so freeing, and you don't need to be perfect at it, and you don't need to share it. But it is a
Mm-hmm.
skill that is just so beneficial. So that is the
Yes.
aim for this year, is to start those programs, which is quite a fun task to do. I will have a monthly program that people can drop into, but will have a 6 week and an 8 week workshop program as well.
Oh, I love
Mm.
that. Yeah, people have been asking me to do like a self-publishing workshop. I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I've been
yeah.
thinking about it, but I'm just
Oh,
like,
you
with
should.
everything else I have going on, I don't know if I have any more time for anything else.
I know, but when you get into this space, we're all a little bit crazy.
Yeah, everybody's like, I think you really, should do because you self-published
Yes,
15 books. Like
that's
I'm like,
incredible.
oof.
And it's not easy. It's a
No.
hard thing to do, and it sounds sort of glamorous and fun, but it's a real grind, and it is
Hmm.
hard. So I'm amazed and awed by you. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Is there anything else you would like to add or anything you would like listeners to just know before we go into the last segment?
I think the main thing for me is that if they're in that grieving space, or really life in general, but certainly with grieving, is you cannot do anything wrong, and you're not doing anything wrong. Everyone is unique and individual and does things in their own way. There's a sort of an old fallacy out there that grief goes through stages. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't. If it could have gone through stages, I would have loved it because I would have ticked the boxes and moved on to the next one, but it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not simple. And I can tell you honestly from the bottom of my heart that I will be grieving until the day that I'm not here. And part of my grieving is my love for my daughter, and I don't want to not grieve. So, um, and I think that that is extremely true for me. Not everyone feels that way, but we all have
Mm-hmm.
our own different timeline. And that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy life. You can be
Mm-hmm.
grieving and have fun, and you can be grieving and find joy. It's not one
Exactly.
or the other. Yeah.
Yes, I completely understand, and I do agree because grieving doesn't necessarily mean that, yeah, you're just letting life pass you by. It's just, yeah, you're keeping that person's memory alive. You're keeping your good, the good with you, and it helps you in your day-to-day life. Like that
Yes.
person is never forgotten.
Yes, absolutely. And I do this work. I say that Kalia started the conversation, and I'm continuing it. And that is me honoring her. But also, it keeps her alive for me. I love it. I love working in this space. I love
Hmm.
talking about her. And it's something that I have inadvertently been trained for through my life. And look at us now. So,
Yes.
yeah, I I love being able to do this work and in
Mhm.
her honor.
And was she your only child?
No, I've got two other children. So I
Hmm.
have Kalia and her older brother were 2 years apart, and then I had another son who is 9 years younger than Kalia.
Oh,
And
okay.
Yeah, they go through their own journey. And Kalia and my younger son were extremely close. She was a second mother to him. So it is, and everyone has their own path and their own journey to go through. But Kalia was my only daughter, but
Gotcha.
I do have my boys. Yeah.
Okay, okay. All right. Well, we have come to my favorite part of the show where we play What Is She Thinking? I'll give you five random phrases. You'll tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't have to think too hard about it. Just something kind of fun to get to know you after a good conversation.
Sure. Exciting.
What is she thinking? What are her thoughts? Quick, fast, no blinking. What do you got?
All right. So your first one is grief is.
Oh, grief is love. That's all it is. That was an
I
easy
agree.
one.
All right. Don't turn that doorknob or.
Oh, that's a hard one. Don't turn that doorknob. Ah, sorry, I'm not thinking of a word. What this makes me think of, don't turn that doorknob, is when I was initially in the first stages of grief. Sorry, I know this is supposed to be quick. The first stages of grief, I got so many things delivered that I felt like I had PTSD from gifts and things like that. So that automatically takes me back to that don't turn that doorknob or you'll find another gift outside.
I like it. I like it. All right. So your next one is you can't have coffee without
Well, sugar.
sugar. All right.
I know I'm a bad person. We're supposed to be sugar-free and I can't do it.
All right. The next one is color my personality.
Color my personality. I would be green.
Green.
Yeah,
Wow. Love green.
I love the trees. I think that I love the bush. New Zealanders, we have a lot of native bush and I love it. And I find it so healing, just to be out in nature and it really slows you down and also understanding the cycles of nature. So I will be green.
Yes, definitely. All right. So your last one is walk to the bus stop.
And um, well, I walk to the bus stop and I'd have to get on the bus. I mean, I wouldn't be doing anything else.
My first thought was walk to the bus stop and pick up your children.
Oh,
That was the first thing that popped into my head.
well,
Because,
that's
yeah,
a
we have to
nice
do that
one.
morning and then, in the evening to get them off the bus. All
Um,
right. Well, is there anything else you would like to add? Any social media links, websites, anything you would like listeners to reach out?
No, I mean, if anyone's interested in my book, it is available both by paperback and audio book. If you like the sound of my voice, I don't like listening to the sound of my voice, but people sometimes find listening easier than reading. So they are available on all major websites. And yeah, if anyone wants to have a look at my website and they can contact me, more than welcome. And it's thisisgrief1word.nz.
Thank you. Great, great. And thank you everyone for listening and tuning in to another episode of the BFF Empowerment Podcast. Be sure to send us a message via email if you're interested in being featured as a Women on the Rise segment of the BFF Empowerment Podcast. Be sure to follow us on social media. We are BFF Empowerment Podcast on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and also YouTube. Visit our website at bffempowermentpodcast.com to keep up to date with all the latest episodes, check out our blog, and just, see what we have going on. And if there's anything else you would like to leave a review, if you enjoyed this episode or any other episode, feel free to leave a review on your podcast of choice to help others discover their next favorite women's empowerment podcast. And until next time, everyone, thanks so much for listening.
yeah.